It's been almost 3 months without power outages, but that could come to an end very soon. The Koeberg Nuclear Power Station will tomorrow be taken offline for regular maintenance. The unit will be offline for the next 5 months. Energy expert Ted Blom joins us now to discuss this further with us. Thank you very much, Mr. Blom, for your time here on NewsLink. Now, of course, this basically probably means that the power cuts that we had last year will be worse this year around.
There's a very good possibility that that's going to eventuate. I had a look at the stats for the last week or so, and there seems to be some concerning challenges lying ahead for us, insofar as even on a Saturday night, last night, Eskom was forced to burn 12 of those OCGTs. And as we know, they only last for a few days and they run out of fuel every time. And there's a limit as to how many OCGTs they can run and how long they can run them for. So if we're already running those on a Saturday evening when demand is typically very low, then I have grave concerns about the possibilities of load shedding.
But it also speaks to the fact that, the problem that we've seen at Eskom, where things, or around a lot of our state-owned enterprises, where our infrastructure is not properly maintained, and then it is the residents of South Africa, it's South Africans, who have to now bear the brunt of it all, because now if you're going to switch off units that are so important for supply, does this mean perhaps that it was not properly maintained this whole time?
Okay, in this instance, the shutdown is a scheduled event. The unit's license expires in 2024, and for it to continue operating, it needs to do the refurbishment or the upgrade, and then have a new license reissued before the old one expires. Otherwise, they have to close it down altogether, and then to restart it after an expired license is a nightmare. But however, so it's not the issue of maintenance per se that worries me, although that is a general problem within Eskom, which the CEO doesn't seem to have been able to sort out. But what worries me more, and this is of critical importance, is that I have inside information that Eskom's compliance documentation and management at Koeberg is 6 years in arrears. Let me be blunt, 6 years in arrears. And I can assure Eskom right now that they played games with the Cape Town Action Group by giving them a blanked out or redacted report on the so-called status of Koeberg. They did the same trick with Dentons, and you and I know what they hid away in the thieving and the corruption that they hid away by redacting or blacking out the Dentons report some 5-6 years ago. I would have thought that under the new management, who claim to be clean and mean, that they would have actually got the act together and actually updated the compliance and the transparency of which Eskom operates in. I can assure Eskom, I challenge them to give me 2 reports. I want to see the baseline report as to what's going on in Koeberg and why the documentation doesn't correspond to that in the first hand. And secondly, I want to see the safety analysis report, the SAR report. If those reports aren't forthcoming within the next 7 days, I will vent my concerns to the International Energy Agency, because this is a concern for all South Africans, whether you're in the proximity of Koeberg or not. This goes to the bone of how our state corporations are being managed, and you don't manage a nuclear installation like a spaza shop. And the sooner the government and Eskom realizes that, and that we are very serious about this matter, the better for them and the better for everybody.
And this ask that Eskom has brought forward to energy regulator NERSA for a 20% hike when it's battling to give people the electricity that they need, every single day without, the anxiety of going through power cuts again. It's quite unfair that every year they want your 15% last year, 20% this year. It's already very expensive to pay a company that is unable to actually keep the lights on all the time.
Okay, so I suspect that there's another scam going on at Eskom, and the scamming and the corruption hasn't stopped at Eskom, and that's why there's a criminal pending case against the board of Eskom, including its management. The fact of the matter is that these price increases are preposterous, and they keep on referring to the competitive prices with the UK and with the rest of the world. The fact of the matter, this is not the UK. We have a massive competitive advantage, which Eskom has obliterated over the last 12 years with its corruption, inefficiency, and pathetic management. And a lot of those managers are still at Eskom. They're still in very high places. Even people with their fingers in the cookie jar are still sitting and getting paid daily at Eskom. So, yes, I think your concern is justified, and I believe that the tide is now starting to turn. I think South Africans have now realized that the ongoing corruption at Eskom is costing us dearly, because their money, their revenue comes out of our pockets, and they haven't properly accounted to us. They haven't accounted to us about the corruption that was started back in 2005, 2006, which was also not investigated by the Zondo Commission. I believe that was a deliberate manipulation. The Zondo Commission starting date was only 2010, because they hid away all the corruption from Medupi, Kusile, and Ngula, which was commissioned in earlier years, in 2006 to 2008. So there's still a lot of corruption that needs to surface. And yes, I think Mr. Zondo has tried to do a reasonable job, but the fact of the matter is his own people kiboshed these efforts. And the South African public has not heard all the corruption that they're entitled to know about. There is still a lot of corruption under the table that hasn't come to the surface.
And of course, the only solution is for us to go for the alternative, so that we take away this power that Eskom has had throughout this time to be the only company that can give us electricity.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm on record for more than 5 years. In fact, since 2013, I've been forecasting that there are major issues at Eskom, and that without further massive intervention, and we've seen that. We've seen all the financial packages that have been thrown down Eskom's throat, and the faster the money goes in the front door, the faster it gets stolen out the back door. So, yes, I believe we're getting to a turning point now. I think people have had enough, and we now need to take our control of our future into our own hands. And I urge everybody who possibly can, if they think they can't, they must contact me. I will gladly refer them to people who are capable, who are honest, and will not steal the money. And I will certainly take a personal review and see that people are helped to get off the grid, because staying on the grid is going to kill your business. It's going to kill your household.